All right, let's jump right in. If you think of artificial intelligence as this incredible engine that's changing our world, then you've got to ask, what's its fuel? Well, it turns out data isn't just the fuel, it's the very oxygen this whole thing breathes. So we're going to break down why data is way more than just a piece of the puzzle. It's the entire foundation AI is built on.
You've probably heard this phrase a million times, right? Data is the new oil. It's super catchy, it sounds really important, and, it's become the go-to line to describe our whole tech economy. I mean, really, what are we talking about here? Is it just some buzzword that executives throw around in meetings, or is there something deeper, a real fundamental truth behind all the hype? Well, let's dig in and figure that out.
To really get a handle on this, we have to start with the oil part of that famous saying. See, the value of oil isn't really in what it is when it comes out of the ground, but in what it can become. Just picture it, crude oil. Straight up, it's this black, sticky, kind of gross goo. You can't just pump that into your car, right? Of course not. It has to be refined, processed, and turned into useful stuff like gasoline or plastics. Its real value is unlocked through that whole process. And you know what? Raw data is pretty much the same thing. All those photos, clicks, and lines of text, on their own, they're just a chaotic mess of noise. They're useless until someone comes along to collect, clean, and organize them.
So, once you've got that refined data, it plays two absolutely essential roles in getting an AI up and running. Think of it as both the fuel that powers the engine and the teacher that actually makes it smart. We see this most clearly in a process called supervised learning, which is how a ton of today's most powerful AI systems get trained. The keyword here is supervised. It means the AI isn't just wandering around in the dark. No, it's learning from data that's been neatly prepared and, crucially, labeled with the right answers. It's like giving it a textbook with an answer key in the back. Okay, so here's how that dual role works. First up, data is the fuel. An AI needs to see, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of examples just to learn one thing. You can't show it one picture of a cat and expect it to get it. That's the fuel part. But second, data is the teacher. For every single one of those cat photos, there's a label that says, hey, this is a cat. So the AI takes a guess, checks its answer against that label, and if it's wrong, it learns and adjusts. It does this over and over and over again, millions of times. And this brings us to a really basic rule in the world of AI. How well an AI performs is almost always directly connected to the amount and the quality of its training data. It's pretty simple, really. If you give it a small, messy data set, you're going to get a pretty dumb AI. But a massive, clean, perfectly labeled data set, that's how you create a genius. So the takeaway is clear. More high-quality data almost always means a better, smarter AI. Now, this direct link between data and smarts has huge consequences out in the real world. It basically creates a situation where the companies that already have mountains of data are in the absolute best position to build what's next. This is exactly why the big tech giants are so obsessed with data. Their AI is incredible, sure, but it's not just because they have brilliant coders. It's because they're sitting on these exclusive treasure troves of data. Think about it. Google has decades of our search histories. Tesla has billions of miles of real-world driving data from every car they've sold. OpenAI trained its models on a massive chunk of the entire internet. This stuff isn't just oil. It's like a highly refined secret formula of jet fuel that nobody else can get their hands on. And what this creates is this powerful, self-feeding cycle, what you could call the ultimate competitive advantage. It works like this. A company uses its data to build a better AI product. That awesome product brings in more users. And guess what? Those new users create even more data, which then gets fed right back into the system to make the AI even smarter. It's this AI-rich get richer feedback loop that's incredibly hard to compete with. But, and this is a huge but, it's not just about who has the most data. There's a classic saying in computer science that has never been more true. Garbage in, garbage out. If you train your AI on data that's biased or wrong or just plain terrible, you are absolutely going to get a biased, wrong, and terrible AI. The quality of what you put in directly dictates the quality of what you get out. End of story. Okay, so this whole obsession with gathering and refining every bit of data imaginable, well, it forces us to stop and confront some very difficult questions about the kind of world we're actually building. Because when data becomes this incredibly valuable, the ripple effects go way beyond just technology. They start to affect the very fabric of our society. This leads us to some of the biggest, most heated debates happening right now. First, you've got the whole privacy question. Seriously, whose data is this anyway? And what say do we have in how it's used? Then, there's the giant problem of bias. What happens if the data we're feeding these AIs is already full of our own unfair assumptions? And finally, you have to ask about accessibility. If only a handful of giant companies control all the best data, then who actually gets to innovate and shape the future for the rest of us?
So, we really have to change how we think about this. Data isn't just some technical resource anymore. It's a strategic asset. You could even say it's a new form of capital. And whoever controls that capital is probably going to define who has economic and even geopolitical power for years to come.
So, when all is said and done, what's the big takeaway? If you pull back the curtain on all the futuristic hype around AI, what's the real secret ingredient that makes it all work?
The secret sauce isn't just some super clever algorithm or a faster computer chip. It really is the data. The next time you're just blown away about what an AI can do, just remember, that intelligence wasn't just coded into it. It was learned, bit by bit, from a vast, refined ocean of data that reflects all of our collective knowledge, and, yeah, all of our collective flaws too.
And that brings us to the final and maybe most important question for all of us. As we try to figure out this new world, we're the ones who have to decide where the lines get drawn. So, what's your take on it? Is this relentless push for more and more data just a necessary price for progress? Or do you think it's already gone way too far?